In this video, I'm going to talk about why I don't use Sharkbite fittings at my plumbing company, and I'm going to talk about it right now. I'm Roger Wakefield, Lead AP, the expert plumber. I've been plumbing over 38 years, and I have every master endorsement in the state of Texas. On this channel, I'm teaching you everything you need to know about plumbing. If you haven't been here before, please subscribe so you don't miss anything. Guys, I'm an old school plumber, and Sharkbite fittings are a new tool. And you've heard me talk in other videos about how I study what the current trends are, what new tools and techniques are out there. Some of them just don't add up to me. I'm an old school plumber, and I believe in copper pipe and copper fittings. I believe in solder joints. But I want to talk about why I do. I have actually had to go fix Sharkbite fitting leaks. I have actually walked into water heaters that are piped with nothing but Sharkbite fittings. And guys, it doesn't look good. And when I say I'm an old school plumber, yes, I've been doing this 40 years, but I use a lot of modern tools and techniques that I think are good. Now, I'll get to it later, so hang around because I'm going to tell you where Sharkbites are good, and it's the only time that we use them here. One of the things I learned from one of my mentors is always be professional. And by be professional, I don't think a plumber who charges a lot of money to take a fitting and push two fittings together and say, there, it's fixed, I don't think that's very professional. If it's water running and you're trying to do an emergency stop or something, that might make sense. But at least shut the water down, drain it down, fix it, and do it right. So my process here is, if you are going to just go to Home Depot and buy some parts that any homeowner can buy, push things together and call it fixed, it's not a good thing. And it's so funny because I was actually at the Chamber of Commerce yesterday meeting with one of the directors there, and he told me about his new house. He told me about his new house that he's been in for 2 years. They installed a water filtration system under the sink prior to the line going to the refrigerator, so the ice maker line and the kitchen sink lines, the drinking water, is all filtered. Now that was a great idea, but the problem is there was a leak behind the filter. It leaked under the cabinets, ruined his hardwood floors, ruined the walls, baseboards, and everything else. He was telling me about how he just checked into an extended stay apartment, hotel, whatever it is, where he's going to be for 2 months. The reason being, it was a push together fitting that leaked. They had no idea. They've been here for 2 years and things have been fine. All of a sudden, it just started leaking. Now guys, don't get me wrong, I've seen solder joints leak, but it's not very often. Matter of fact, it's very few and far between. I don't even know the last time I saw a solder joint that leaked. Now, I've seen it when people installed it because they didn't solder things right, but you go back and you fix that. Now, a Sharkbite fitting, if you squeeze it together and it's holding, but it starts leaking again in a year or two, and it's either in a wall, in an attic, under the ground, under a sidewalk, there's a lot of places it could be that's going to cause problems. I would rather have a solder joint there, but that's just me. Leaks happen. I get it. But would you rather, if it was your house, would you rather have a piece of copper that is soldered together, or would you rather have even a piece of PEX that is crimped together and you set it so you know that it's right, a piece of Uponor that's always trying to squeeze down on the fitting to tighten up for the rest of its life? Or would you rather have a Sharkbite fitting where you just stuck two pieces of pipe together? Guys, I know which ones I would pick, and Sharkbite is last on that list. One good thing about Sharkbite is you can go from one pipe to another. And that is about one of the only benefits that I see to it. But I also know as a plumber, I can take a piece of copper, I can put a PEX adapter on there or an Uponor adapter, and I can adapt to what I want to adapt to. I don't have to use a push together fitting. Guys, push together fittings also pull apart. And you can say, well, yeah, you've got to have that little tool to push that ring in. Guys, they leak for a reason. Now, I haven't taken them apart and studied them. I've looked at them. I don't like the way they're made, but I see the benefits of them. But I also, as a plumber and a plumbing company owner, I also see what happens when they leak. I've seen them in attics. I've seen them in walls. I've seen them underground. I have seen a valve box installed with nothing but Sharkbite fittings. Guys, it isn't pretty. It's not a good way to do plumbing. And if you are selling yourself as a professional, use professional products. Learn how to solder. Get in there, make your solder joint, put it together right, and do what needs to be done. Now, if you've used Sharkbite fittings as a professional, do me a favor and leave me a comment down below and let me know why. What was the reason that you, a licensed, trained professional, use Sharkbite fittings for? Because I tell you, I have had a friend of mine who's a general contractor talk about going out to a house and working on it and saying, hey, look, I would just install Sharkbite fittings. It was a leak under a sidewalk. And I got upset. I said, look, that's why you're not a plumber. A real plumber, a licensed plumber, a master plumber, a smart plumber does not want to use pushed together fittings. Guys, we're trained better than that. Now, is there a time and place for them? Absolutely. I worked out at the airport. I was at DFW Airport for about 5 years, and we had a water control box. One of the things that was in the water control box was Sharkbite fittings, everywhere from 1/2 inch up to, I believe, 2 inch. Why is that a good thing? Because if you've got an emergency and you can get that on there and stop it, even if all it does is slow it down. At that point, if it drips, you don't care. You can get a gondola or a bag. You can get something under it to catch it. But for an emergency installation or an emergency situation, that's not a bad deal, but that is the only time that I would ever use it. So for emergency uses, if you've got a flood and you can slow the water down, or maybe you've got a valve that you can't get to stop, but it'll slow the water down. If you can get to where you can cut that pipe off, clean it up, get a Sharkbite fitting on there to stop the flood, then I understand it. But guys, as soon as you do that, turn the water off, drain it down, change the valve out, change out whatever it is you've got to change out. Whatever you do, make sure you put it in right. Guys, I know Sharkbite is allowed, but that doesn't mean it's right. So my deal to use, if you've ever used one, please let me know down below why. Why did you use it? And if you did you come back later and change it out? That's just me being curious. Because me and that contractor that I'm talking about, we don't even talk anymore. I cannot believe that someone would argue with a master plumber about what's right on Sharkbite fittings. So I don't get it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. We talk about all kinds of different things plumbing. And if there's anything else that you want to learn about or know about, please leave us a comment down below and check out some of these other videos to learn more about plumbing. I'm Roger Wakefield, Lead AP, the expert plumber, and I'll see you on the next video if you don't get flushed.